Welcome to Material Musings, where the fabrics tell their tales. Eco-dyed colors from the garden, slow stitches where the heart exhales. Painting cloth and weaving stories, wall hangings blooming bright. Come create with Amanda, where your creativity takes flight.
Well, hello and welcome to today's Material Musings. I'm so glad you could join me. So we've got a lot of things that we need to discuss. I hope that you've got yourself seated and you've got your creative project with you. So over the last week, what I talked about was looking at some of the fabrics that I had. Well, no, there was two things. There was finishing off work, which is something I want to do. Now, I've been pondering over that based on the amount of work I've been able to put into my fabric piece, and I felt really bad about it, not because I hadn't done it, but because as I was editing videos, I recognized that I would normally couple editing videos, you know, as you have to watch it through and then decide when to chop bits. I would normally stitch, and I wasn't doing that, and it just felt like I felt as if something was missing. And I knew it because this Kawandi was sitting there saying, look, you know, I'm here. But I totally ignored it. Anyway, so I was, just mulling over the idea of trying to finish all your projects. And I don't know about you, but I've got a load of projects to finish because I do like, I would see something and I want to try it. And then rather than just make the one or a prototype, I would make like 10. And I would be so engrossed in it. And then I might get partway through and something else catches me, but I do eventually finish them, and that was how Material Musings was birthed, really, because it's like, let's look at some of the things that we have. Now I know that we've looked at other things, and you know, that's how things evolve and change and develop, and I think it's important to look at it like holistically, how I work. Like, I'm not just doing a Kawandi, I'm doing a whole load of other things. And the same is for you. You know, we've all got responsibilities, roles, or whatever we're doing. But it's important to take time. And I think that, for me, is the beeping cars. It's just like, just wait. I think for me as well, it's like if you're able to find the time, and it doesn't have to be, and I was discussing this with a group, it doesn't have to be like a 2-hour slot. That's how when I first became an artist, or I was chatting to my friend, good friend, Barbara, and she's unfortunately no longer with us. But we would talk about how much time we needed for art. We didn't have enough time because of the pressures of life, work, and everything else. And it would be like, I just need to spend a day, to be able to spend a day. And the reality is, you may not be able to spend a day. So how much time do you have that you can use? And so this, minimum 15 minutes for me is like the thing that kind of got me through, and through navigating, looking after my mum who was living with dementia, and the pressures of that, the guilt that you can feel. For some, like, you feel you should be able to look after your parent, or you don't expect to look after your parent because you think they're immortal, but when that time comes, you're unprepared because nobody said it was going to be like this. And so you're navigating the illness, learning how they're trying to communicate, and grieving the parent that you thought, like I thought, you know, when I was in my adulthood. This is all connected to Material Musings because it's about, you know, reflection and stuff like that, and we will get there. But yeah, you think that you would be able to appreciate them or have them in your adult life, and I think looking back I did, but I wasn't appreciative of what I had. You know, it's not until you lose something that you value it. You think, oh my goodness. But anyway, so she did fabric work. She did a lot of crocheting, and I had found amongst her stuff, she used to do those like doilies that would sit over the back of settees, and I found a lot of her really fine crochet needles. I mean, this is what's this? It hasn't even got a number. Is that a number 4? It's got a 4 and a 20 on there. Okay, so this one, sorry, this one is a 1.75, and I think, okay, this is a 1.5. So this must be a 1. Like, this is a really tiny one, and she would sit there doing these intricate doilies that, again, that was another thing, never appreciated the handicraft. And I think she taught me to crochet, but I didn't like follow any patterns or anything. And yeah, I found her needles, and it was just like, I don't even remember seeing her crochet, but she did. She found time. And so, yeah, so through looking after her, finding that sometimes I only have 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, but what can you do in that time in terms of self-care? So for us moving forward, it is about how can we find that time? And as much as I want to finish every single project I've got outstanding, that isn't a reality that's going to happen this side of the year. But I can enjoy slightly. But a bird has made a nest in the window up there, and it's finished building the sheet. They finished building the nest, and it looks really comfy. She looks like she's got some cotton. So we've got cotton plants outside, and lots of branches. So what I do is when the guy cuts the grass is I collect the grass and kind of put it on the beds, and then obviously that dies down and breaks down, and then sometimes that's where the birds get the foundation of their nests. Oh dear. And again, that's about looking at how we operate on a holistic basis. You know, we're not one-sided. So in terms of the fabrics, what I was looking at when I started I had two large bins of fabric, and I wanted to check on them just to make sure, you know, they weren't mildew or anything. So, and also just to look at them so I can see what was there, because I want to make some stuff, make some more stuff. And I washed everything, folded everything up. The bins themselves, because they're plastic, they were getting brittle. So I repaired them as best as I could, because that's what I have at the moment to put the fabric back into. Cleared the space, and then I thought, what about the other bins of fabric? So let me show you one of them. So this is the next size down, and then the smaller ones have like I've got, you know, projects, smaller projects, like things that I started making some fish. I didn't finish all of them. I made about 6 of them. So, and things like this, that is something that I've made, but I haven't decided what's going to happen to it. Is it going to be a necklace, an earring, or is it going to go on a project, or is it going to have a body? You know, it looks like a little cat. That's what I was aiming for. Anyway, so I thought, do you know what I really want to do? I will finish this Kawandi by the end of the year. I will finish this. I hope in the next couple of weeks. But again, I'm going to be mindful that there are lots of things that need to be done by the end of the year. But I would take each box and just tidy it up. And sometimes it just means refolding it, deciding actually are these scraps too small, or are they ready to go into another project? Like I've got this, oops, I've got this, these are fabric scraps, but they're larger fabric scraps and they're all folded. So I could go through this and decide, well, okay, so I've got these. Am I likely to use them? What can they be used for? Or do they need to go in the mixed media art journaling bin where they could be used as a stencil or something like that? And if I'm not sure, it stays where it is. And my scissors. So I've been carrying it back and forth from, you know, in front of my computer to in the studio and back. And so it's just like, actually, just take the things that are not supposed to be in there out, and that can go back on the shelf, and we'll sort out the next. So that's one of the things that I'm going to be doing. And I would like to share with you today some of the, I'm going to look at start looking at I've got some smaller sized African fabrics and larger sized ordinary fabric that I keep in those bins because the really large pieces of fabric, I don't want to have to keep going in and out of the larger bins, so I cut some off because they're usually used for smaller projects. And so that's one of the things that we're going to do. And I've made, I think I made this a while back, but I'd like to decorate it with beads. It's my desk Christmas tree, floral, and these are crocheted flowers that I'd made years ago. And it was just like, I'm not exactly sure what I wanted to make with the flowers. I was just so glad that I could make the flowers and they look so pretty. And I was thinking about making like a wall hanging with them, and I still might because I made a lot of flowers. But these were ones that then I was making a tree for a project, and I thought, let me just do another one and put the flowers on, and it's just made from bamboo sticks. Yeah, so it's very simple. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to look through the materials. If that inspires you, then that's great. Think about what materials you've got and do you need to tidy them up. If you're one of these people with lovely space and shelving and all of that, then I would just say, you know, sometimes even that is, take it out. Is it ordered in terms of the color, the patterns, and just shake them out and refold them. You know, sometimes they do need airing, so that this is the time. I'm allocating 10 minutes to be able to do that, and you don't have to commit to doing everything all at once. Yeah, so let us get to the table and I'll take out the first bin. It might be already ordered, so there might not even be anything too extra that I need to do. So let's get on and join me join me at the table. Okay, so, well, opening it up, it kind of looks pretty neat and stuff, apart from this section. But, you know, I want you to take seriously the idea that, you know, sometimes, like, I would do this with my, like, pens and stuff like that. I would just go through them and, you know, does it need sharpening? Does it need... what, you know, tidying up, dusting off, and that's what you need to do with, well, that's what I do with my fabrics as well, because sometimes you think, actually, I really don't like this fabric. Like I'm saying, I really don't. I like the look of it, but the feel of it, yeah, I don't like the feel of it. It's very plasticky. That's how it, the only thing I don't know what it is. And this is the only piece that I've got. So, but there might be somebody who wants a piece of fabric just like this. And so I could put that in the charity bin. Or I might say to myself, actually, this is a perfect kind of fabric for this kind of project. And it gets its placement in terms of where it can be used. And then we have fabric that is smaller than I would normally put in here, but because it's the same fabric and there's a larger piece, I've left them together. So it's time for you to review what you have, but also, however you're feeling, sometimes just handling your fabric, handling your supplies as it were, can give you some peace, make you feel inspired. Look, this piece was hidden in there and it shouldn't even be in there. Don't know why that one is. Okay. Yeah, so I've got a little desiccated thing there just to keep the moisture out. So yeah, so going through them is definitely a thing, and tidying them up. You might have projects that come to mind that you want to work on, and yeah, it's just time for you to be able to, I mean, look at this all scrunched up like that. You can't do that, girl. Okay. I think I've probably just done the same. Okay. I want them to be able to see them, but when I put the lid on, then it shuts properly. Okay, that shouldn't be in here. Okay, so you could start, I mean, technically this shouldn't, but where it would go is full. So let me just put these back now. So all I've done, yeah, is move a couple around, but then I've revisited them, and I might have thought, oh, you know, there's another project that I want to do with something like this. This is similar to this fabric that I don't like. It's that kind of texture. It's not waxed fabric. It's, you know, pretend. But I do like the pattern and colour. So we'll refold this up and put it back, and the rest, that one should go there. So I do like order, and oh, I like this one. I think I was gifted this one, or did I get it at charity? No, I think I was gifted that one, but anyway. And I could say, okay, yeah, I want to colour coordinate, so that's why I then move some stuff around. And when you leave it, you feel good. So I'm going to put this one back for now, because I don't have to decide what I'm going to do with it yet. This is, yeah, I'd love to be able to use this. So I have to think of some projects, some small projects. So let us squish them that way. So it's just moved from one end to the other. And this shouldn't be in there, so I can take that out. I can take out the ones that I feel definitely shouldn't be in there. And this was fabric, upholstery fabric. I really like this. It's really nice to work on this in terms of stitching. Do you want to see what yeah, let me just show you quickly. This is my one that I was working on. It's a fabric journal. Come in, come closer, quickly. Yeah, okay. So we got houses on the front. It's just really nice to stitch in, and the contrast of white, black, any colour really, actually is quite nice. So I made this journal. The initial journal, when it was first done, it was one of these where the you have these tabs and they crisscross across the pages. And because it was too loose, so I decided to stitch the back in. And so, ooh, do you know what? This is a teaser, so that's what you're gonna see so far. We're gonna look at it a bit later on. But you see what happens with, you know, being excited by fabrics, and then that takes you down a road. So let's get on. I want to put the rest of this away, look in the other bin quickly, and then we can enjoy ourselves with that. So more upholstery fabric that I've used in projects. I've used as backing. Yeah, so it just needs to be folded so it can fit in the bin. Now this is pretty full, and so I'm just gonna leave it as I found them on top there. This is from an item of clothing and that I'd cut, and I want to use some of that. So that's a very small piece. It should go into the smaller African fabric scraps, but for now I'm just gonna tuck it just here. Okay, so that's one bin done, and that was only what, 10 minutes? Aside from the going down a road, an inspiring road. Okay, let's get the other bin. I'm determined to get these 2 bins done. At least that will be an achievement. Okay, so in this one we've got fabric, just fabric, but as I say, I've cut these from the larger pieces of fabric. Some of them not, some of them are just pieces. Like this is just, there was a bigger piece to it, but not so big that it needed to be in the big, with the big guys. Okay, so just looking at this, ooh, look at these. These I got a while back. The Queen's Park Gallery was doing like a arts bank, and it was just like loads of materials, fabrics, and different things that either, you know, fabric stores or people donated. So I donated some like art magazines and things like that. So you could donate stuff and then you could take stuff. And so I took, you know, some fabric. There was some fabric there. These 2, which I really liked. Still haven't used them yet, but I know I'm going to be using them in something. So I cut these down from a larger piece. And yeah, this is kind of organized in 2 directions. So I'm just going to take this out and see what doesn't need to be in here. And there's things that you might have that you think, gosh, if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have seen this. These bits. Now these bits are like scrap pieces, so they shouldn't be in here, should they? No. And these will, you know, go nicely in smaller projects. So yeah, just taking them out, having a look, refolding them, putting them back, and that doesn't necessarily have to take that long. I found additional fabric like this, so I can put the one that I had dug out from there, and just going to put this to the side and just go through it, because yeah, I want to see what's there. And then as I, again, this is jeans material, but yeah, just go through them, see what you've got, and then you could maybe even decide, yeah, I want to color coordinate them, and all that is just putting all the same colors together, and then it's easy on the eye when you come to look through it. You know, you're not then, I don't know, you're just looking at maybe the fabric. See all the pinks. You might decide you want the colours. And so we've got the blues. I think these will probably go with the pinks. Yeah, it's kind of greeny blue. Or maybe we'll leave that on its own for now. No, I'll put that with these. And it's a different way from the way that I had folded it and stored them, but it might mean that more of the fabric gets used. Ultimately, I would love to get through and use, you know, think about the uses rather than having loads of fabric that you're forever in and out of large bins looking at and fondling, you know. Okay, so I think these are ready to go. So we've got greens and blues and mix. I know I've got some more here. Right, this is what we've got so far, and I've tried to it's color coordinated to a certain it's color coordinated, yes, kind of. So all I'm going to do is put the lid back on and put it back on the shelf. What I realized is there's just too many of the scraps that was in here, and it's full. I don't know how they all fit, but I'm not going to put them back in there, and put them in a bag for now, and I will find the appropriate container to put them in. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so let's look at the journal now, see where we've got to, because I have been working on this, not this week, but I did a little bit of work when I just needed something simple. I needed to be able to stitch and not necessarily not have a reason. You don't need a reason, but this is not something that is I'm pressured to finish. It's just I can sit and enjoy. And if there's like a course that somebody does that I want to add in here, I can. So I had done these separately. I think I did this as one of my Making Zen when I was teaching on Making Zen, and it's just really working with the creating words for yourself and stitching, and then doing some really tiny stitching. Now what I feel like is I want to come back in and do thicker words, go around the letters, but I'd already attached it to the front of this, and then that's what it looked like at the back as I stitched around it. And then I thought I actually want both sides to be able to be used, but it hadn't been set up like that. So when I'm stitching, just be mindful where, you know, how I start, and like I could maybe add additional fabric to this and stitch. This is the bottom bit that's been turned over. So if I stitch into this, you won't necessarily see it on the front. So that's the premise that I then started working with this book. And yeah, this was just, I think I'd done small spiral with the white, and then I wanted to come back in. And then it became, it's funny, got thicker, it became like more pointy here. But this is quite a meditative exercise to do. And again, especially on this fabric, I just really enjoy working on it because it's thick, fairly thick, but it's easy to get the needle through. And I just like the contrasting colours, this tan colour, the green, and then there's a kind of this bluey. I just like that. So I had already created a little pocket in here. So the aim for me working in here was just to work on the pages and bring them to some sort of, more finished conclusion. These were loose at the time, and so I've added more onto them. I'm not sure whether I want I could create like a journal within a journal, or whether I want to stitch at the bottom and make it into a tuck spot. Anything behind this pocket I can sew straight through in this area, so maybe put a word there so when you open it there's a word, and even maybe on this there could be, you could do some weaving because of the lines. I could do some, oh yeah, actually, yeah, okay. So this, we've got the house. I love the little French knots on there, and again just layering fabric, putting it together, creating a scene, a little house. I had decided to create a face on here. This is one of my crochet flowers. So on the back now, I can either, again, make a pocket and stitch on the front of the pocket and then make a pocket. That would be an idea, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would work. And then this just goes over it like this. The pocket's not going to be anything that's going to contain anything too bulky, because I don't want that to be there. But, or I could, again, like I was thinking here, cut out some more this shape and make it into a journal within a journal. And the back page would sit on here, but then you could open up and see that either, you could see different aspects of the house. So here you got the outside of the house, and then when you go in, the inside of the house, and then each one you turn is a different part of the house. Oh, yeah, okay. Giving myself ideas here. Another little scene using, look, scrap fabric, and some of the ones that I pulled out already. And this is fun, like, especially, I've got all of that, and these are my smaller scraps that I was using to make one of the smaller kawandis, and it's just like, now what are you going to do with it? But then these, elements, parts of these can go into these projects and be something. Miniature, I love miniature, but you could do something with those. Yeah, loads of like small bits of fabric could be incorporated in part of the house, as part of her clothes, as a pocket. She could have a real pocket. It could be a mini journal. Ooh. And that's how it goes really. When I am working, I then have all of these ideas, and the thing to do is write them down. Yeah. So she's not finished. I want to do some more here. Like, I'm working constantly on this, and it's the same with these. Now these houses have been added. It's a separate bit of paper. I can stitch in this and go through without you knowing on the other side, and it would just be around these bits, but even around the tree is fine. So I could do another scene. It could be the back of the house, the back of the tree, maybe a little scene here. So this was one of the Making Zen, doing some stitches, daisies. So I liked that, and this is the back of it. And then that was the final page, but then I added this page, and because this is how it went. This went through here, and for me it was just a little bit too loose, so what I did was add another piece of fabric and do those stitches on it. We've got a pocket here, and I can do some more stitches. We've got a little tuck spot here. Yeah, I wanted just to create loads of different spaces and then be able to stitch on them. So this will still be possible to stitch, but I want to keep that open. And then you've got this open, so even things like, you know, this can go in there. And then on the back, I just put a couple of those clasps so that, there we go. So what am I stitching at the moment on here? So I've got this needle. Oh, I was going round the words plant. Yeah. Okay, so that is just a side project, but it would be nice to, it's just nice that it's there and that I can just come and dip into it and dip out of it and add some little stitches. I can play in it, practice. I can add more to it. I do like the idea of having it's like you go through the front door of the house and on the next page you see another aspect of the house in stitch. So that might be something I'll play with over the next few weeks. Okay, so this is the tidied, one of the tidied scrap boxes. So with all the scraps. Now these are scraps. So these are too small to fold, so they stay in this bag, and when I'm, you know, making small projects, I can look in there first. I realized that I had separated all of the natural fibers that I'd either dyed, painted on, and that I could stamp on, because I wanted to stamp words, and these are ideal to do that. So they stay in this bag here, and I'm glad I went through these bags, because then I found some small stitched pieces that I had done, and I'm working on another project that would incorporate these stitch pieces, so it was good that I refound them. And all they are is like taking bits of fabric that you might have, and you could go into your, like, you know, like this, I might say, oh, these two, I'm going to add this to this and stitch it, and it's put in clusters together that can then be used on other projects. Yeah. So again, essentially the focus is, you know, tidying up and making it so that you can find things again. You know, if you've had a flurry of projects that you've been working on, are you somebody that tidies up straight away, or do you just go from one to the next and then everything's in a, you know, mess? And then these were elements that I was going to add to these pieces, so I'm going to keep them together, ribbons and things, so that, you know, I could have done something like this and maybe added another piece to it like that, and already you have the makings of another project that you need to finish. Yeah, so these are all going to stay together, because again, it's also for those moments. Have you set up those moments where if you want to just stitch something, but not anything like, you don't want to get out your sewing machine, you don't want to get out all your supplies, but a bag where I could just stitch a couple of these things together and just see where it goes, in the same way that you would have like a journal to the side of you where you would put any excess paint. That's almost what it's like, you know. You can have all these things together and then see how they work with each other. And it doesn't matter whether you think, oh, that doesn't go. It's just like, just put these things together, and you never know what project will come up that actually needs something that looks exactly like this. Look at that. I like that, actually. And the aim would be to make sure I go through this and every bit gets used. Every bit gets stitched to something, so that they can then move to the next stage. There won't be any of these loose bits. They'll all belong to another project. Look at that. Some beaded elements there. And I was making some fabric beads, but stopped. Okay, and some more of that, you know, can it be used as a stamp, or do you want to cut it up and stitch on it? Again, you don't have to make some of these decisions now, but as I say, I was glad that I looked through it and I can now put this away. So technically I've had 3 bins sorted. I can put this one in here. 3 bins sorted. Yeah, didn't do any stitching. But let's come back and we can have a quick chat before we go. So how did you get on? So I was actually quite pleased with what I got done. The 2 bins, well, 3 bins actually, the scraps. I found the small projects that they're just really like, you know, a few minutes. It's that kind of thing. And again, like, it's the way that I set myself up in my art journal. So I'll have pages that I can come back to and do some doodling if I want, and or, you know, just a small bit of work that needs doing, just in case, you know, you've gone through the whole day and you haven't managed to do the thing that you wanted to do. Now, we didn't stitch the kawandi, but I will be stitching my kawandi today. So if you are working on one, you know, at least do something, even if it's that 10 minutes you promised, do the 10 minutes. And one of the other things I started doing, especially with the kawandi now, is, you know, if I'm driving, if I'm being driven and there's traffic, that's an ideal time to pull it out and start working on it. Or if you have to wait for something, you know, you have to sit and wait for something in somebody's office, or, you know, wherever it is that you're going. So yeah, I'll still be working on the kawandi. And one of the other things that it's brought out for me is just wanting to tidy up my studio before the end of the year. So we're approaching a new year. What are the things that you want to work on? What are the projects you've got in mind? And what things have you had that you haven't been able to use? And is there somebody else who might be able to benefit from it? It could be the very thing that they're looking for. So just to kind of go through things, tidy them up. Do I need more storage? I did say I needed more storage, but I haven't got anywhere to put the storage because all the bins that I've been buying over time, the little containers, they're actually shoe boxes. But they come in sets of 6, I think it is. But yeah, where they are, they filled the shelving, and I have bought. I don't know whether you can see it. It's this little. It's like a with drawers. I've brought a double set that's just sitting there, and another little trolley, and it's like, okay, out with the old and in with the new, and also, do you actually really need to buy anything else? it depends what you're working on, I guess. I did buy some frames, and I bought some of those small, oh my gosh, I bought some of those small frames that I had used to do the stitched folk. Did you get to see the stitched folk? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, here's a picture of a couple of the designs that I did, and I really enjoyed doing it, and I'm going to be doing more, especially with my art foamies that were released in August. And I'm going to be bringing out just some more digital art stamps that I've been kind of mulling over, working on, refining. So I'm actually quite excited. There's just, yeah, quite a lot of things that I'm thinking about and thinking, oh, I need like 4 of me to be able to do all the things that I want to do. But for now, I'll just make do with me, myself and I, and continue and just try and make, allocate the time I need, think about how long a project will take, and am I allocating the right amount of time, and just make the most of every single moment. And that's what I encourage you to do as well. And so I will leave it there for now, and we will finish off with just being thankful, really, thinking about the things that we're grateful for, and the being able to be in a space where I can create, being in a space where the only thing that will come and trouble my stuff is the geckos and the lizards. Now, I thought we could share this space amicably, but they do leave their mess. So that's the only thing that is annoying. And then when they have their babies, you got all these tiny little geckos. We've got the white geckos. There's it's like a grayish, blackish one. Then we've got the green lizards. There's more than one type of lizard. And then I noticed in the garden, it's like a silvery lizard, or it could be a tiny snake. I think it's more like a silver, but it's not fluorescent. It's iridescent. No, it's like a silver lizard. Anyway, you can see all of that in the garden, and check out Creative Garden. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it there. Hope that you are being creative and you found time to do something today. Next week we'll be doing much of the same. I'm going to be identifying a few more bins. We'll look at a project, see if we can finish something. I might do some beading, actually. Oh, that was the other thing. Oh my goodness. So looking at the fabric now has encouraged me to look at the beads, and then at the back of my head it said, you need to color coordinate all your beads. And it was just like, what? Oh yes, you need to separate the wooden beads from the glass beads, from the plastic beads, from the little seed beads. Now they're kind of pretty much organized, say seed beads mostly all together, but the wooden beads now, I do need to put them all together, and maybe I do need a container. Oh, look. Like just a little, yeah, it's gonna have to be bigger than this, but maybe something can go in this. It's got there were these, it was these picture hanging kit that I got, but yeah. Oh, look, now look what you've done. See, now I might need to go and look for some storage containers to put the beads in, the wooden beads. But we'll see. We'll see what we have, yeah? And it might just be you shift things around. Maybe that's all it takes. So we'll go there first. And I'm thinking that I do want to do some beading, so I might do that and actually add some to this, my mini tree. We'll see how it goes anyway. So take care for now, and I look forward to hearing from you. If you're not subscribed yet, please do, and leave a comment where you're commenting from, what you're working on. Join me, and yeah, take care for now.